Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. Stone. It's math time today. Today's learning target is I can carefully use my ruler to measure, and we're going to measure today. I want to point some things out to you today, so let's look at this chart that I have. Measure carefully. When you're using the ruler, you need to measure very carefully, and I want to talk to you about a couple things that you always need to remember. So, the first one is to make sure that you're using the correct side of the ruler. If you were measuring in inches, you should be using the inches side. If you were measuring in centimeters, you should be using the centimeter side. And a good way to remember the difference between those two is that the inches side, the inches are about the length of the tip of your thumb, and the centimeter side, the centimeters are about the length of the width of your pinky, okay? The other thing I want to point out to you to always remember when you're measuring carefully is to line the ruler up correctly. Now you know that all rulers are different. Sometimes you're going to start at the edge of the ruler. Sometimes you're going to start at the 0 and it might be in a little bit. The first notch might be in a little bit. So you have to know your ruler. Also, when you're measuring, you have to make sure that you're using that halfway hash mark correctly. If you get to the halfway hash mark when you're measuring and you go beyond it, you're going to use the next measurement. But if you don't get to that halfway hash mark, then you're going to use the measurement that came before, okay? So I'm going to do some measuring with you here today. And the first thing I have is a cake mix box, okay? So here's my cake mix, and here is my ruler. And I'm going to measure this in inches, okay? So I'm definitely looking to see that my ruler, I'm going to start at the end of my ruler, and this is my inch side, okay? So I'm going to line that up at the end, and the cake mix box goes to 7, a little past, but it doesn't get to the halfway hash mark. So the cake mix box is 7 inches long. So let me write that down on my chart. Cake mix, 7 inches. Okay, now I'm going to measure my toothpaste box. Same thing, I'm going to measure it in inches. I have the end of my ruler. I'm going to put that there, the end of my box. And the toothpaste box goes to 7, but then goes beyond the halfway hash mark. So I'm going to use 8 inches for the toothpaste box, 8 inches. Okay, now I'm going to switch my ruler and I'm going to start measuring in centimeters. So I'm looking at my centimeter ruler, and I can see that I'm going to start at that first hash mark because that's the first one that's there. So we're going to measure wheat thins, and I have this box. I'm going to line that up right there and see, and the wheat thins pretty much go right to the 20 centimeter measurement. So the wheat thins are 20 centimeters long. Okay? And now my last item is the mac and cheese, okay? So I'm going to line that up at the end, and I'm going to see where it goes. It goes to 18, but it doesn't quite get to that halfway hash mark. So I'm going to use 18 centimeters for the mac and cheese. Okay. Great measuring today, boys and girls. Nice practice. Now, don't forget what we talked about, okay? We have to use the correct side of the ruler, inches or centimeters. We have to line that ruler up correctly, know your ruler and see where you should begin, and also use the halfway hash mark correctly as well. Okay, boys and girls? Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you again the next time.